Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, August 23, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we can see that we now have a brand new tropical storm that's Fernand right here to the north of the Eastern Caribbean, and we can see that to the southeast of Fernand we have that area that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite imagery right here of the Atlantic, we can see the cloud showers and thunderstorms located right here to the southeast of the Bahamas associated with Fernand, and the cloud showers and thunderstorms associated with that code orange right here to the east of the Windward Islands. So we're going to be going from top to bottom. We're starting with Fernand, as you can see. Not really looking that impressive on satellite imagery. We can see it right here just to the southeast of Bermuda over here. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity out to sea, but it's not going to be affecting Bermuda to a great extent. We can see it right here on the Euro Spaghetti Model Plus, passing just to the east of Bermuda, pushing off towards the north. GFS Spaghetti Model Plus in agreement with the same. We see Bermuda over here, and it should maintain the tropical storm status, as we can see here from the intensity model guidance. We don't really have much of them, making it up into category 1 status. It should remain a tropical storm, and even the Hurricane Center is in agreement with that. We see the latest here from them stating that as of 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Fernand is packing maximum sustained winds of 48 miles per hour, so that makes it down there in the low end tropical storm status. We know that tropical storms basically pack maximum winds of anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour wind, so it's down there in the low end of the scale in terms of tropical storm status, closer to tropical depression status than hurricane status. It is currently moving towards the north at 15 miles per hour. We see that even the wind field is small regarding the system, just a small area in that goldish shade where the tropical storm force winds are, spread out. And Bermuda is way over to the northwest there. They don't even have tropical storm watches or warnings up for that country, so they're definitely in the clear, as the system should continue pushing off towards the north, then towards the northeast, then towards the northeast over time, maintaining that tropical storm status all the way up to 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Regarding the code orange, let us read what the Hurricane Center has stated. Let's zoom in. They've stated here: showers and thunderstorms have increased and are beginning to show signs of organization in association with a tropical wave located about 500 miles east of the Windward Islands. This system could become a tropical depression during the next day or two, while it moves quickly westward at about 20 to 25 miles per hour, passing through the Windward and Leeward Islands late on Sunday. And they've also stated, regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds are possible across portions of the Windward and Leeward Islands on Sunday and Monday. The system is expected to reach the Central Caribbean on Tuesday, where conditions are expected to become less favorable for additional development. An Air Force reconnaissance aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system tomorrow if necessary, and we see that they've given the area a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, as well as within the next 7 days. Regarding the close-up, we see the shower and thunderstorm right here, definitely even looking more impressive than Fernand in my opinion. We see a lot of thunderstorms bubbling up in the dark reds, in the blacks as well here and there. and even the Euro Spaghetti Model Plus in agreement that it should trek into the Caribbean, all the way from the eastern end to the western end, passing to the south here for the majority of these models of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica. The GFS Ensemble Spaghetti Model Plus in agreement with the same, definitely maintaining a lower intensity when the blues represents tropical depression status. And we see even the intensity model guidance definitely in agreement. The system should become a tropical depression, if not a tropical storm, very soon. We see it already up in the greens. That represents the fact that it is very close to tropical storm status. Not yet designated by the hurricane center, but it could be very soon. I don't know that if we even look at the Euro and the GFS supercomputer model runs here, we're not really seeing anything defined out there. This is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, August 27. We do see an increase in moisture across portions of Jamaica and the Western Caribbean right here on the Euro. The GFS showing an increase in moisture across the Central Caribbean into the Southwestern Caribbean right there. Nothing really organized. Don't see any black contour line surrounding a red L that represents strong tropical storm status or anything like that. But we know that if something should form, the next name on the list after Fernand is Gabrielle. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, there's actually a tropical wave right here across the Dominican Republic. We can also see the L representing that tropical storm, that's Fernand. And we see that tropical wave right here, that's that code orange across the waters to the east of the Caribbean. And if we look even east of there, we can see a tropical wave right here across the Cabo Verde Islands. All of these entities, as we know, being steered from east to west, if not southeast to northwest, or from south to north, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure, everything going around it in a clockwise fashion. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities. So the visible satellite imagery right here showing all the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with Fernand right here. Definitely looking even more impressive on visible than on infrared. We can see the clouds associated with that code orange right in here. A lot of moisture associated with it. About to bring some decent rainfall anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Definitely going to be getting on some decent rainfall from this system within the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, August 23, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some central and western parishes in Jamaica on Saturday afternoon. Also affecting, I guess that's it, just for the afternoon across central and western parishes. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. Our western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 5:26 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see the clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, across sections of some central and western parishes and even the far eastern end. Earlier today, we saw that across far eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland right in there. We definitely had that isolated shower activity across sections of Manchester and St. Elizabeth as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite imagery right here, we can confirm the clouds that definitely brought the isolated shower, especially across sections of northern St. Elizabeth, section of Manchester into central St. Elizabeth. That was where the brunt of today's rainfall was. Then received much in the way of thunderstorms across the island today. Just a brief isolated thunder shower right here across the southern cockpit country. Nothing significant. We saw the blue that represents the cumulonimbus cloud, even the sparkling white dot right in there that represent just a quick isolated thunder shower. Nothing significant at all. And the live camera right here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel confirming that we didn't have much of anything taking place across the island today. We can see people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time at all. Taking a look at what's happening right now, let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather News website. Let us reload the very latest still image from the Jamaican Doppler radar website. The latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the latest Cayman radar to confirm what's happening now. Alright, so the latest still image from the Weather News website is showing 0225 UTC, which is actually around 9:25 p.m. So this just came out 13 minutes ago, considering that it is 9:38 p.m. right now. As you can see, just some high cirrus clouds in the whitish shades, nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. Jamaican Doppler radar glitched out, Cuban Doppler radar glitched out on August 18. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar not showing much of anything across southeastern Cuba or northeastern Jamaica, but we do see some isolated shores right here in the blues and greens, some light to moderate rainfall just to the north of the Haitian Peninsula. Regarding the Cayman radar, not really seeing much of anything across Cuba or western Jamaica, but we do see some isolated shores right here to the west of Grand Cayman. Regarding what's happening right now, the live camera right here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the Boardwalk Gorge, showing that it is definitely fair. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at this time, and this should be the order of the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we see Jamaica still shaded in the yellows and the slight oranges, and represents 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperature for the month of August across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32.8 to 34.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And we didn't see any maintenance outage advisories from my JPS online Twitter page, but tomorrow is still going to be a bit hot, so we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here: dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see the dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region into the northern portion of the North Atlantic right in here. You know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But we like that we're seeing more blues that represent moisture, and wherever we have the moisture, that's where we have the gray clouds. And that's what we want. We want more moisture so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so today is August 23, so we're heading into the next 3 days, showing August 24, August 25, and August 26. As you can see, starting as early as August 24, we see some slight Saharan dust coming in, intensifying on August 25, August 26. Still have some leftover Saharan dust, as represented by the greens into the yellows into the slight oranges for sure. So we could definitely get in on some slight hazy skies, and sometimes it can trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So we hope and trust that you all have your meds handy just in case you're easily affected by the Saharan dust. Asthma, sinusitis issues are no joke. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the highest waves across the entire Atlantic are over here, across the waters of the open Atlantic, from the southwest Atlantic all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. All of the 2 to 2.5 meter wave heights in the pinks for sure. We also see some of that right here just to the east of the Caribbean, associated with that code orange. Interesting. All of that is going to be pushing westward. As of right now, the Caribbean getting in on those blues that represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because of the winds that are expected. You can definitely see the strong winds that are expected across the eastern Caribbean, all courtesy of that code orange. while the rest of the Caribbean we see more greens, representing anywhere from 15 to 20, maybe even gusting up to 25 knots, wherever we see the slight yellows. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, up to 1 meter wave height to the north of Portland, 1.2 meter wave height to the south of St. Thomas, 1 meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, 1.1 meter wave height to the south of Clarendon, to the north of Hanover, 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the south of Westmoreland, 0.7 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the easterly winds that are expected. We see more bright greens. That represents up to 17 knot winds right here to the north of St. Anne, 16 knot winds to the south of St. Thomas, 18 knot winds to the south of St. Elizabeth. And we also see where it looks like the air is going to be piling up, maybe across section of some northern and western parishes. And we have a tropical wave just to the east of us, so we could get in on some rainfall coming off of the water into some eastern parishes. And the upper level wind aren't really that strong at all. We don't really have much wind shear at all for tomorrow. We do have some decent wind shear across the eastern Caribbean though, but the code orange should be a bit to the east of where it is, so it's not going to be affecting it to that effect. But regarding the rainfall forecast for tomorrow, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. And we can clearly see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes right in here. We see it across section of St. Thomas, Portland. The Euro showing some of that rainfall across section of the south coast, but we're not really seeing that on the GFS. More of that rainfall is out to sea by that time. Let us skip ahead for some more consistency. Alright, so the consensus, not consistency, is for some rainfall on the Euro for section of some central and western parishes. GFS is making more sense. We're seeing more of that rainfall piling up across section of some western, northern, and even eastern parishes still getting on that rainfall. You know, the GFS is usually more accurate when it comes to the afternoon rainfall, so we're buying this forecast for sure. So look out for some afternoon rainfall as well across sections of some eastern, northern, and western parishes. We're talking about sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, into section of eastern Portland, eastern St. Thomas getting in on some of the action as well. So get ready for that. The total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. We see the yellows into the slight oranges that represents maybe up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall. On the Euro, the GFS showing the brunt of the rainfall across the northwestern end, up to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall at that. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of August, and we know that during this month we usually receive almost 100 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston. In Montego Bay, we usually receive almost 5 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of August or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandyclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the grays that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Monday's forecast. Now we just looked at Sunday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Monday's forecast. 12Z, as you know, is actually 7 a.m. and we're starting to see the moisture associated with that code orange coming into portion of the eastern Caribbean. For sure, not really looking that organized. If it was organized, we'd see more circular patterns around all of the moisture for sure, even an L in there, but we're not seeing that at all. Just a lot of moisture down in here, could be representing a strong tropical wave. Then on Monday afternoon, by the way, we don't see anything across Jamaica on both time periods. What do we see on the GFS? GFS Monday morning, not sure much of anything across Jamaica, but we do see that moisture across the eastern Caribbean. Monday afternoon, we see that moisture pushing off towards the west, to the west of the Lesser Antilles for sure. We also see some rainfall across far western parishes in Jamaica. Interesting. What do we see on the Euro or Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, we see some rainfall across the far eastern end of Jamaica. We also see that moisture to the south of Hispaniola. Interesting, associated with that code orange. And then on Tuesday afternoon, we still see that moisture pushing into section of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, section of southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica, getting on some of that rainfall too. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, maybe some isolated showers to or south, maybe across the far eastern end. Tuesday afternoon, some rainfall across some southern and western parishes. And we also see that rainfall to the south of Hispaniola right in there. So they're definitely going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall before us for sure, because we see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. Let us see what Wednesday morning is showing on the Euro. On Wednesday morning, we start to see some rainfall increasing across the island. We see the dark greens into the yellows, some moderate to heavy rainfall at that on the Euro. Then on Wednesday afternoon, still seeing that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, not really as robust as the Euro, but we do see some moisture across eastern Jamaica, some moisture to the south of us, some moisture to the south of the Dominican Republic. Then on Wednesday afternoon, just like what the Euro showed, some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. This is the tropical wave that we've been waiting for. So even if it doesn't develop, some much welcome rain is definitely on the way. Skipping ahead now to about Thursday morning. On Thursday morning, according to the Euro model right here, we see some rainfall across far eastern Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, we see some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, rainfall across eastern parishes, waters to our south, western parishes as well. Thursday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Still interesting. What do we see on Friday morning on the Euro? We see rainfall still affecting far eastern Jamaica. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, August 30, and we see rainfall to our west. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes still. Friday afternoon, even more rainfall across the entire island. I don't really buy that, because especially the Euro not showing it, and I'm more inclined to believe that tropical should be passing through by midweek, not heading into the weekend at all. And then as you can see at the end of the 168 hours, this is also valid for Saturday, August 30. We're seeing that much of the moisture should be across the Western Caribbean right there. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, we're definitely seeing an increase in rainfall, all courtesy of this tropical wave. We see the reds, we see the dark reds into the purples and the slight pinks. That represents anywhere from 1 maybe up to maybe 3.5 inches of rainfall across the waters of the central to the Western Caribbean, especially heading into sections of Central America, into Northern South America. As usual, they're used to all of that rainfall, so some isolated flash flooding could definitely be in our forecast for sure. While other areas that are shaded in the yellows, oranges, and reds, at least up to an inch or less of rainfall for these other areas, especially the Eastern Caribbean and Northeastern South America. But regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals over the next 7 days, we're definitely seeing an increase in the rainfall totals. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, August 30. And we can definitely see that rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. We see the yellows into the oranges and the pinks that represents all the way up to 105 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS is going up to at least 142 millimeters of rainfall. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it for sure. Very interesting. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. And let us see what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we can definitely see some of the moisture associated with that tropical is starting to push into portions of Trinidad and Tobago. These thunderstorms are affecting portions of Hispaniola associated with that tropical wave today. And we see a lot of moisture across portions of Florida. I'm pretty sure that they got a lot of rainfall today for sure. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening down here. We can actually see some rainfall across section of St. Martin, southwestern Puerto Rico, getting in on some amount of rainfall for sure. And if we load these images from earlier today, we definitely saw that portion of eastern Dominican Republic, northwestern Puerto Rico definitely got in on some decent amount of rainfall for sure. I'm sure they're grateful for the cool down. But regarding the Doppler radar imagery near Barbados. Not really seeing much happening across Barbados. We do see some moisture passing to the south of Martinique into northern St. Lucia, though. We see some moisture heading into portions of maybe Trinidad and Tobago, section of maybe northeastern Venezuela, getting some of that activity, maybe even some isolated flash flooding into Trinidad. We see that activity coming in from the northeast. I'm sure they're grateful, associated with that tropical wave. And even the weather we have Doppler radar images confirming that rainfall that took place across section of Florida today. You can also see some rainfall across northeastern Venezuela, section of Colombia as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that within the next 24 hours we should be getting some rainfall across the eastern Caribbean, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados. We also see the usual rainfall for section of northern South America into Central America. We see that across section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. On the rest section of southeastern Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, section of the Cayman Islands, some isolated shores for section of Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, western Puerto Rico, and some moisture even into portion of Puerto Rico right there. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. We know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across the Caribbean. Let's see what's happening across the rest of the world. The Eastern Pacific right here, still showing that we have that code. Well, it's a code red right now. Right here across the Eastern Pacific Ocean. So something that has a high chance of developing within the next 7 days. Right here to the west of Mexico. We can see the infrared right here, confirming what it looks like. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. Nothing really, solid right now, but it's getting there. I know that the next name on the list is Juliet. Regarding the Western Pacific now, we no longer have that tropical storm to the south of Japan. We now have a brand new tropical storm right here, just to the west of the Philippines, right here to the south of China. That is tropical storm Kajiki. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see all of the deep convection associated with it. We can see it right here, some of the moisture already pushing into portion of Vietnam. And if we take a look at the information from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, we see that it's expected to push out towards the west-northwest, definitely getting up in there in the intensity. As of right now, it is packing maximum sustained winds of 65 knots. And we know that any system that pack anywhere from 65 to 83 knots is considered a category 1 hurricane. Over this side of the world, they call them typhoons. So it's a category 1 typhoon right now. It's expected to increase in intensity as it pushes off towards the west-northwest. Before it even makes landfall, we see the Joint Typhoon Warning Center taking it up to 75, then 80 knots for sure. So getting up into high-end category 1 hurricane status before it makes landfall in Vietnam. We know that we have to highlight what's happening across this part of the world, because we know that we have friends or relatives who live or work here. So it's not about Jamaica all the time. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.